It's time for our third punch-up of the night, and we'll be going in now with the Australian all-star of ZenAku, taking on, of course, the dastardly buccaneer himself of dooi. Dan, how are we feeling about this one?
Feeling good. This is the polar opposite of what we just saw, I think. We've gone from two players that don't know how to take their foot off the accelerator, apart from if you're in the 9th or 8th minute, where Effortless then just hits the reverse button, to two players that are probably the most stable in terms of performance and strategy in the QPL. So, yeah, it's definitely a contrast to what we've just experienced.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's also two players that I think have gone from strength to strength over the course of the Quake Pro League and have become more and more enjoyable to watch. And honestly, in terms of personalities as well, are standout members of the scene. Both of them are really great guys, Dan.
They are. They're loved by everyone that comes in contact with them. They're really passionate about what they do. Obviously, dooi coming back because he missed competing with ZenAku, effectively changing his entire life for the QPL. Yeah. So they're two players that are, I guess, fan favourites and deservedly so. And if I'm right in saying, I think dooi is obviously very much safe, but ZenAku's not in terms of relegation and needs a map. So it is a crucial series for him if he wants to have that security moving on into the next stage of Season 2 or whatever.
Yeah, no, this is a big sort of game, really, overall for ZenAku. I think this does have a lot more riding on him in terms of the importance going forward. But they both had some changes. When it comes to their styles of play, I feel like we've seen a lot of development for dooi. You know, he was quite slow, was more sort of the North American base in his kind of approach. Now he's been able to know when to put his foot on the pedal a little bit more, knowing when to aggress. And you can make those same comparisons for ZenAku. We think about the evolution of ZenAku, right? Since we saw him actually come in back at Poland, Dan, he looks like a whole new player, and it's really fun to watch him compete these days.
Oh, 100%. And as unfortunate as it is, being based in Poland and playing in the North American region, he has the luxury then of having a whole multitude of different players to practice against and different styles. Obviously, all of the European talent that he has to come up against, and then he gets to also play in NA. So it is actually a luxury for him and has definitely benefited that evolution coming over to Europe. And has been a massive learning curve for him. But we've seen him, as you rightly said, take on stride after stride.
He has, because I think it also benefits the fact that, you know, he's been around with legends from the scene. You know, we've seen him hanging around with Awoken a lot. They've been doing a lot of work with some of the Endpoint podcast stuff that came out. You know, they've been talking about the fact that, you know, they've been playing together. And he's had a wealth of time to play against all of the best in Europe every day. You think about going from Australia, where your practice regime is limited and you're playing with such a disgusting ping. Then you get into a position where you can play against those players on a level playing field day in, day out. He's got to be loving it.
Well, you're going to have all the Aussies coming after you soon if you carry on slandering
ping to
the
Europe.
entire
I
nations.
have no problem with the ping of a local Australian. I've got no problem with Australia. I have no quarrels with them.
You just retract. That's fine. But no, you're right. So it's been a learning curve. I mean, I think people need to reflect on the fact that it's been a massive experience for him, not just in terms of Quake, but as you said, in terms of adjusting everything in his life. So yeah, definitely deserves everything that's coming his way.
He does. And talking of coming your way, let's move into the Veto and have a look how that is shaping up and see what it's looking like in terms of the game ahead of us. Ooh, okay. Here's a little bit of spice for you then. I know I was talking about Effortless on the Athena, and he is very good, but you can make those same comparisons for a player like ZenAku, busting out Athena on Blood Covenant as well. One of the maps that really does allow you to make full use of that movement mechanic there.
It does. I'm generally someone who sees ZenAku as favouring the heavier champions. I think he might be open to that. But if you're going to pick an Athena, then Blood Covenant is probably the best map to pick it on. There's huge range to use those hooks, great verticality, and we've seen it time and time again. The power of it. dooi, though, is a Ranger specialist. And I do like Ranger up against an Athena because you can use the rocket jumps and to catch up. She hasn't got as incredible speed as somebody like a Slash, so the Ranger's limitations in terms of that maneuverability isn't as offset as against an Athena. So it's not a bad matchup, and dooi really does like that Ranger.
He does, and his orbs are one to remember. He can hit you with a 1-2 combo quite a lot. He's had some of the sickest orbs in the business at times when we see him fired up, so looking forward to seeing that. Moving off the back as well, we go into Awoken. That'll be actually quite fun. Doom versus BJ, mate, on Awoken, always a classic.
Go on then, what's your pun for the BJ, mate? I'm putting you on the spot.
Well, you'll see. I can't use it yet. You got to wait. You got to wait.
Man. Yeah, Doom, we know, staple for Awoken, was pretty much the favoured pick for a long time. Still incredibly powerful. Dewey loves the Blazkowicz, though, and I'm a big fan of that pick on this map in particular. You can force close combat situations and really maximise the damage from the dual wield, so that's a great pick. And then we're in the upper blood run. We have a Sorlag, which ZenAku really does like, but it's not too heavily outstacked by the Strogan Pika, who can hold his own and has equal speed to boot. I don't think Blood Run's the strongest pick for a Blood and Pika, no, Strogan Pika, but it still can hold its own. And the Pika is also very strong against the Sorlag as well. So it's not a bad matchup. I would favour the Sorlag ever so slightly, though.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of potential. You know, she's still got the speed, even though she's a big girl, she can move fast, and she's got the extra sort of, you know, bang for the buck as well in terms of the stack that comes with it. So Blood Run could be a bit of a tasty affair towards it. But we're starting off on Blood Covenant, and it looks like we're starting to fire up the server as well to go into this one relatively soon. So Athena taking on Ranger. Dan, you put me on the spot last time. I'll throw you into the mix this time. What's your prediction? What's the scoreline overall for the series?
I think ZenAku traditionally is actually done pretty well against Dewey. His style is very methodical, and if you play methodical against Dewey, you're always in with a good shout. If you don't overextend, that's what Dewey thrives on. So I definitely have a feeling, and I would expect ZenAku to pick up a map. And considering how important this series is to him relative to Dewey, I'm still going to favour that. So I'm going to say 2-1 to Dewey. I do think ZenAku will pick up a map and probably push the rest pretty close.
You know what? I'm going to play devil's advocate because I feel like the man can do it. I reckon the Thunder from Down Under is going to be coming out. I think 2-1 ZenAku, mate.
Chill. I'll accept that.
All right, we'll see. We'll see who's going to be right at the end. We'll mark it down. Keep notes. I'm sure you got a pen and paper there somewhere. I'd hope.
Oh.
No? No paper allowed?
It's 2020, mate. On iPad.
All right, yeah, my bad. Bust out your online, Google Doc. Get it written in. Let's see where it'll go as we are in ZenAku taking on Dewey. This is potentially one of the more exciting maps coming out here in terms of the picks. For me, I feel like the Athena is definitely going to be fun to watch, and you've got to deal with the Ranger as well. It is a staple for Dewey. He's very, very effective with the Dire Orb, and he's looking to try and get it back in his hands as quickly as possible. Gathering up all of those time vials to get it back, coming off cooldown now in around 7 seconds. He's going to be happy with this. He'll be content as well if he can actually pick up this heavy uncontested, as he is lurking towards it. And it seems like they'll just split the major items, then return to the fight.
Yeah, I imagine we'll see this type of setup quite a lot, as both players do favour the safer options in playing generally and retreating back onto items. So pretty stable start from both of them. ZenAku at the moment doesn't have a rail, so that's going to be a priority for him. Obviously having the hook will help that, but Dewey, one of these players, will always take strong positions. He's already there set up for a good use of the orb, but does fall off of the bridge, meaning ZenAku has easy time retreating back onto this mega, and once again they will trade major items.
Dewey. The man's flashy by nature, and he's flashy by skins as well. Always representing the green arsenal. When he comes out here, he likes to do an awful lot of damage and do it in style. In terms of the firepower he's been able to pack a punch with so far, a couple of shots coming through, slowing down ZenAku slightly. We're 1 minute and 30 in. Haven't had first blood just yet, but it could be coming up quite soon. ZenAku rocketing himself along, utilizing that grappling hook to basically just bombard his way by and bypass Dewey for now. Dewey waits and muddies the timing slightly to then pick up the mega and begins to reposition again.
Ouch, it's a pretty nasty rocket as Dewey does come flying through that teleporter, and ZenAku needs to back off here, and Dewey's in a very healthy position at this point in time. Just good rail up at that jump pad as well. But Dewey being Dewey won't push his luck. We'll wait until the perfect opportunity, and what a rail that was. Hasn't seen that shot before. He senses the time is now. He has the orb for the follow-up if he needs to use it, and this is the time he will want to use it, but doesn't even need to. Can reposition with it now up onto the bridge, but has it in his arsenal to push this mega. Great rails from Dewey. ZenAku in a bit of trouble picking up the mega, but has no weapons.
Yeah, that was nice. Obviously, time ticking by as well. Nearly at the 3-minute mark. He's hitting his rails. He's got 2 left in reserve when it comes to the ammunition he's got left to try and annihilate ZenAku with. And He plays for the audio cues, reads him, leaps around the corner with a pre-fire, trying to land the shot on the rail, but it won't actually connect. Won't matter, as again, they can back off, they can divvy the major items, splitting them one apiece. Rocket jumps into the rail to pick it up, and he's got the backstab. ZenAku has no idea of his location here. He faces in, that's a full 90 damage, and the follow-up for a second as well, hitting rail after rail, and leaving ZenAku really quite close to the edge. The shotty with the follow-up orb to finish. Oh, that is disgusting from dooi.
It's great perfection at this point. Like, ZenAku is getting outmaneuvered left, right, and center. Doi's catching off guard time and time again. And this is ZenAku, the champion with those hooks. He's the one that should be dictating the tempo, but I'm loving the way dooi playing a range of rocket jumping around, using the orb to close the gap. And in traditional dooi style, not overcommitting whatsoever, always making sure he's forging safe and clean opportunities to take these frags.
Will he keep it clean though? Is he going to be able to act like a human Kleenex and just mop up ZenAku like a spilt drink? Because it looks like it's going that way. Using the dire orb, this time not for aggression, but to reposition and get into a better angle. And he really does hit a heavy shot off onto ZenAku, Dan. Nearly striking him and smiting him once again. 2 frags still there towards the advantage for dooi. As he bypasses though, that one will leave a little bit of a mark.
But all things said and done, and as we often say with dooi, maybe he doesn't make enough of his advantages. He's only got 2 frags to his name for all the pressure he's done. He does get away, but then Mega is up in a second. Heavy is still up. He should be able to pick that up, however, as ZenAku does claim the Mega freely. And it's always a fear when you're watching dooi. He plays such great Quake, but doesn't maybe extend that lead as much as he should do. And now ZenAku has a lifeline. 5 minutes in, getting to that halfway point, and they're both looking healthy.
I'm really living for the slower assassin style of play that's coming out from dooi as well. We know that he likes to get a couple of frags on the board and then really just put the brakes on and play to avoid you and just win off the back of that. But the way he's playing it right now, he's being very deceitful. He's able to pop out, get a little bit of a backstab off, so he's continuously chipping down the overall stack from ZenAku and just not letting him build. He's not really giving him any momentum to at least just breathe.
No, but it does feel that ZenAku has stabilized a lot and that this frag was coming. Dooi hadn't been as active on the map and pressuring the major items for a while. And as you said, ZenAku was slowly building himself a good fighting stack and capitalizes perfectly. So 2-1. Both items up for now, and dooi will probably miss out on both, as ZenAku has 2 more grapples to get across the map if he needs to. dooi probably won't risk it. Shouldn't risk it. The orb isn't up, so he doesn't have a lot to work with, doesn't have the weapons. And he's in a bit of trouble here.
And keep in mind as well, of course, as we said at the start of the series, this is an important one for ZenAku to win. He needs to get this series under his belt. And he's instigated a fight once again. 4 minutes on the clock as he swings into action, trying to get ahead of his opposition so he can make his move towards the Mega.
Shotgun.
Oh no, from point blank, he's punished as dooi will just thrash him with a shotty, and he wants more already. He's going back in. He knows he's got bigger stack to play with. He can swing his weight around a bit, Dan.
Can. It's caught ZenAku up here up on the rocket, and that'll be an easy frag. A very clean one as well. There's lots of time before major items, meaning the next spawn is going to be hard for ZenAku to keep alive. dooi just missing the follow-up rail. ZenAku's got away so far, but he's under a lot of pressure. He's going to run into dooi here, and this lead now is mounting. 4 frags, 3 minutes to go. It's not looking good for ZenAku.
No. The scoreline is starting to spiral. Oh, he's going down in a hizzy, and he's going down off the back of a dire orb as well. Another orb is going to eat him and absolutely annihilate him there. Which doi's just coming out with frag after frag. 5 ahead here. Time ticking away. And there's nothing that's really benefiting him. He's on the Athena, sure, and that grapple, it can be used either aggressively or defensively, but at this point, it's not really helping him. He seems like he is just all tangled up in the wicked web that dooi has woven.
And doi's just made it so hard for ZenAku to do anything. Apart from that one frag where he caught dooi off guard, it doesn't feel like he's really laid a glove onto dooi, and that's again reflected through the damage. ZenAku's only done 1,300 damage in this entire match so far. So he's now nearly approaching 3k. And we see the desperation coming from ZenAku as he's forced to make these plays, but they will not work out as dooi will be claiming another frag. Not a very clean one, but another frag at that. Heavy's up. ZenAku will spawn over there. She should be able to scoop it up, but might die for it.
Ooh. That was a nice little 90. Little backstab coming through from the rail there into the booty of ZenAku at this point. Back up the bounce pad to get himself out of trouble. And really, all doi's got to do is run. Get your head down, duck, and look for cover. Avoid for the next couple of minutes, and you've won this one. First map's in the bag, easy peasy.
Yeah. And sometimes when we're watching dooi, he's not always particularly clinical. Like, he's got good skill, but today it just feels like it's clicking definitely for him. He's hitting all of his shots. He's so creative with these angles, and yet it's coming together very, very nicely, which obviously doesn't bode well for ZenAku, who does need this map. Or at least a map.
But obviously this is one of your free chances you've got. So you mark this one up as already effectively being a win for dooi, purely off the back of the dire orb decimation. We said how good he can be with it, but he's really giving you the 101. Not just the explanation, not just the theory, he'll give you the physical demonstration as he comes in round after round with a dire orb, 10 frags on the board, and lands the shot in midair. Damn, that was sick.
Yeah, and ZenAku's used one of his lifelines. He's phoned a friend and no one's answered, so he's got to move on to the second map and re-pick himself together. As this was the dooi show, we spoke about how effective dooi is with Ranger, and this is how you play a Ranger. Some people don't utilize the full skill set, but dooi is incredible at knowing when to use those orbs, using it for follow-up, as well as rocket jumping around the map. He made Athena look slow and cumbersome.
Can't catch me now.
Yeah, it is crazy. For a champion that can be so fast and so quick to instigate or get away, it looks like right now she's just wearing concrete shoes. She hasn't been able to move. Doi's just overpowering her in every single instance there. 11-2 being the final scoreline. I don't think either of us expected that.
No, not at all. I definitely felt it'd be a lot closer, and it was really, really strong from dooi. I felt maybe the first 3 or 4 minutes when he had that control, he was a bit too passive. He just felt like then at the end of the map in hindsight, he was just figuring out ZenAku. And as soon as ZenAku got that frag, dooi responded in kind, picked up the tempo, and ZenAku was left without a hope in the world.
Yeah, just nothing really to benefit him. He couldn't get into the game. And that's it. dooi just ripping his way through him. Looking really good. In terms of form there, we were speaking earlier about if you're going to show off QuakeCon form, just, mere days away, really, from it all kicking off with the Quake World Championships. That's a game that will really prove that.
Yeah, he should definitely be buoyed by that. He looked really good and obviously has been practicing extremely hard. I don't think doi's an opponent anyone wants to play. I've seen him push Rafa to the absolute limit when Rafa's got only 1,000 points. This is a player that is frustrating to play against. He's smart, and when he's got the aim as well, is the full package. So people be worrying moving into QuakeCon if they see their dooi in the lower bracket again. Well, not the lower bracket, the one below them in their matchup.
Yeah, it is definitely getting a little bit hair-raising, starting to look a bit scary, and of course that's only the first map in the series as well, so there's 2 more to go. ZenAku, he needs to have a good series from this point forward now. Ideally, you want to come in with another 2 maps on the trot, bounce back, clap back, and not give all of that free reign to dooi here. And in terms of the tide of things, we are going into Awoken with our second. What are you thinking of the champions for this one, Dan?
Definitely a better matchup for ZenAku. He's got the Doom now, so I believe it was ZenAku that picked the Doom, so a much more stable champion to come up against. He will be going up against the Blaskovic though, so that is pretty dangerous. You need to bait the dual wield out. You don't want to get into close combat engagements with that ability available. dooi is obviously very smart in using it, so it's going to be hard for ZenAku. I'd like to see him put more pressure onto dooi. We know they both like to play methodical, but ZenAku did get sucked into just rotating items and not being able to be proactive. So want to see more advancing from him. If he can keep pressure on, there's no reason why he can't take him up on dooi.
Oh yeah, you just got to not fumble and not give him any more breathing room, not let him keep himself looking high and mighty going into this, because we know how good dooi is. He is definitely one of the big competitors. Ooh, he's one of the strong suits from North America, and already he was looking to capitalize. Issue is there's been some damage back from ZenAku, but it won't be the frag. It'll only be a tag, and he's going to be the one that goes down immediately. Can he chain the kills together, though? Being ran circles around here by ZenAku as he'll dart and dodge about, looking to try and put him down, but the rail shots just keep on coming through from dooi. It doesn't matter if you force him to the edge. He's still got confidence, and he's still got composure, ZenAku. Lucky. Blessed there to even be alive, Dan, honestly.
Should be able to get fragged here. Just misses out. The shotgun did the work. Nice situational analysis from dooi there. He was extremely low for that first frag, but hearing the use of that berserk, realizing his opponent was pretty much useless just standing up on Mega, and obviously realizing that Mega wasn't going to spawn, got himself a nice 2 frag cushion so far, but definitely more proactive from ZenAku, which is a good sign for me.
It is proactive, but it's already 2 kills here for dooi. He's dodging the rockets that are coming in as well, just repositioning to bypass them as they will swing by, and it's scary stuff. He's fueled with confidence as well, as he is literally just chasing in immediately. Rail shot after rail shot, starts to get the initial tags out, and now we can really get the final nail in. The coffin of ZenAku as he puts him down, sends him off on a date with the coroner once again. That's 3-0 already, just 2 minutes into Awoken, and he's playing with that same speed he had on the first map. You can see the confidence is firmly in the favor of dooi.
And ZenAku's doing what... He's making the right choices in my mind. He's just coming up against dooi, who's playing nigh on perfect. He's hitting all the shots, he's timing extremely well, and he's making the right moves. So what is ZenAku's response going to be? And that's a great use of the dual wield, knocking the Doom off of the map.
Oh, mate. He's busted out Des and Troy. And he's done it another time as well. The back-to-back
And again!
ring-outs.
Oh, he just hit the pillar. 3 in a row, that really was. And, oh no, this has gone from bad to worse from ZenAku. He's got himself a Mega, but at what cost? Taking so much damage. He needs to get a rocket because doi's just holding strong on this mid-ground.
Oh, this is not good whatsoever. Look at him. Every time there's a possibility of a frag, he absolutely goes for it, and he runs in with both hands out. Snatches away another one as he'll take this already to 7-3. 7-0. He wishes it was 7-3. We're 3 minutes in.
7-3. But since the first minute, he hasn't even looked like getting a frag, as dooi has just outclassed him at every turn. He's hitting all of his shots. His positioning is so difficult for ZenAku to make anything happen. And yeah, it's just making all the right decisions. ZenAku's walking into a hailstorm of rails. Not many of them are hitting, but enough are to weaken the Doomslayer.
Oh, this is
that was
really quite outrageous. How is he still alive? 9 frags, still on his first life here. The man is mortal, but it appears that he's almost immortal with the way he's playing it. He's willing to go for any firefight. Finally, he's put down and decimated there in the end by ZenAku. First frag coming in, but bear in mind, there's 9 kills for dooi, and we're only 4 minutes into the game. Unprecedented in the way that he's playing it, but ZenAku wants an opportunity to come back. He's awoken now on Awoken. Can he keep up the pace?
He's going to need to, as you say, with a 7 frag lead now. dooi can sit back comfortably, take fights that are only in his favour. So ZenAku needs to make things happen in the right way, and that's not it. It's a great use of the berserk to get out of there as dooi runs through the choke point with the dual wield up. Plenty of time for the Mega, so ZenAku just needs to play the items perfectly if he wants to stay in with a chance. But he is very much in with a chance. Yes, he's got a mountain to climb, but he's got all the gear necessary to make it happen. And he's looking purposeful as well.
And you gotta play with purpose. You gotta be poised going into these rounds, and right now, he is really shaking him down to the wire. Both of the guns coming through, though. The Akimbo is going to be busted out from dooi, but dooi becoming a magnet for rails as he'll attract that one straight into his lips, and it will do a fair amount of damage on the drop down towards the murder hole. He won't be finished off, though. ZenAku instead will have to rotate back around and go for the full frontal assault with the rocket.
Something we didn't mention before is obviously the use of the Doom ability, the Berserk. Oh no! Oh, that actually hurt my soul. I think it was calculated as well from dooi. You saw him jumping. Oh, I feel so bad for ZenAku. But we go again. He's got the items. He needs a rail, misses his jump. He knows when the timing is. So if he can get a frag here, he hears the dual wheel. But great first rocket. Can he hit the follow-up? Yes, he can. Use the berserk as well. Not sure why.
To get back over there for the uppercut. Oh man, he's done it. Straight to the spawn, bounces off the back. He's able to get over there and just finishes them off with the LG. Now this is actually doable. There is an opportunity this could be winnable. The comeback is on the cards, but that rocket will at least slow him down for now. It'll try to stun his momentum, leaving him low. 5 frags difference with 4 minutes to go. ZenAku just scavenging, effectively just running around, looking to find what small pieces he can pick up to rebuild that stack to get himself in the game.
It's one step at a time. It really is. There's plenty of time available, but what he cannot do is afford to give away a frag. If he does that and he gives dooi control, he's kind of signing his own death warrant here, so he needs to play careful and calculated. He's got time to delay. He needs to get an item, so Mega is priority number 1. That's a good start. And dooi will back off after reaching that rail. The next frag has to be clean for ZenAku to continue this comeback. And obviously tracking down dooi is a task that not many people succeed at.
Well, that's the issue, is this is the game that he kind of, he built his legacy on, really, in the sense that he's always been so effective at getting the early frags in and then being able to just coast and run away the entire time. And that's what we're seeing now. The chase game is coming out. ZenAku's at least being able to get slightly further ahead of him, and you are on the Doom, so you've got that little bit of catch up. You can try and just double jump to bypass and get ahead of him. But he's outmaneuvering him right now. ZenAku's got a good idea, a good inkling into these encounters, but he's just not getting ahead of him. Look at this route that's being played by dooi over and over again. Ring around the rosies coming out.
Yeah, ZenAku's making the right choices. He's leaving items up to go on the chase, because what dooi wants to do is play around your rotation. So he hears you going for an item, he'll run the other way. But ZenAku's leaving them up and trying to cut him off. But doi's just outsmarting him at this point in time. Even though ZenAku has the double jump, he's the one that should have the easier time getting across the map. He's not able to trace down his opponent as dooi just skirts away from another rail. Perfect timing for the Rega though, so this is a great opportunity for ZenAku to go on the advance. He sees him here. dooi is relatively weak, so needs to commit. That will be a frag. 4 to go, Jackie. Just a minute 40 to go.
Can he do it? Is there a possibility? He's hitting the rails, but dooi just trying to set a step to bait him out to fire off the shots so they miss. He doubles back, goes for the heavy, picks it up. You've got everything you need. You have all the natural tools to win this. We just need to see him actually put those tools to use. Get him off the utility belt and start to drive them into the forehead of dooi as the shots come back through. Another rail will land. It will slow him down and soften him up, but time is really ticking by, Dan.
It really
He's going to leave
is.
himself with not long to play with if it carries on like this.
dooi has wasted so much time. He probably won't even go down. Oh, that stings, and that will be the good game. As dooi does what dooi does best. He's been hyper aggressive all series long, but as soon as he needs to shift the tempo, he knows how to do it. He changes gear and he wins another game, leaving ZenAku on his last lifeline now.
That's it. It all comes down to the final map, really. It's up to him to just try and keep his composure, and he's going to need to adapt. I feel like we need to see that change in style. Maybe go back to the real aggression that we've seen in the past. Obviously, we know that he has slightly higher ping. I think he is probably playing towards like the 90 region at this point going into a matchup like this, right? So you need to be able to keep that head back and change that style. Play with it. Go for the peaker's advantage. Swing into those fights. I'd say completely turn the tempo here and go just balls to the walls crazy into the last matchup, Dan. I think that's ZenAku's best bet now in these duels.
He has to. I definitely like the tempo of this. Once again, dooi, the master of just avoiding damage and dealing damage as well. 4.8k damage from dooi, 3.7 from ZenAku. So you can see the difference there. I felt much more confident when ZenAku was picking up the pace, but dooi already by that point had built himself such a commanding lead that he didn't need to overextend. And we know how frustrating it is to play against dooi. And this is why he's so frustrating, because he has the ability to snowball and then he has the ability to defend like a madman. So it's incredibly hard for anyone to go against him.
It is. It's just a matter of, like, what can you really do in those situations? If Dewey gets an early game lead, he can run away with it and just squirrel those frags for later. He'll keep avoiding you. He won't fight if he doesn't need to. And then when he does want to fight, we can see the bloodlust was there. Like, in terms of this man's actual aim capabilities and gun skill, they're up there. He can go toe-to-toe with some of the best and brightest, and that was a true test of that.
Absolutely. So I feel for ZenAku, there was that telefrag that halted momentum and killed effectively like 2 minutes of time as he had to then get back in the items, blah, blah, blah. If it wasn't for that, it might have been in with a chance, but we saw how effective Dewey was on the plus back. So there's so many things ZenAku now to think about going into his last map. And I guess number one is don't give away an early lead.
Yeah. Come and actually turn up early on. Obviously, in terms of the champion picks we've got here, though, it is a little bit more classic ZenAku, I'd say. You've got the heavy pick coming through, right? You've got Sorlag, the big girl with a 2-2 that can do a lot of damage. We just need to see him play well on it and utilize that advantage that you've got, having that heavy champ.
This is where I feel ZenAku's best chances, for sure. Ping is much less of an issue on Blood Run. You can play a slower game. A Sorlag gives you that bit of a buffer, if you will, to take these engagements. Dewey has picked a medium champion in response. Strog has obviously got a great stack to his name, got the burst potential with the Pika, and we know how creative Dewey is using these abilities. So it won't be easy for ZenAku, but I'm holding my bets that he can take this one.
We'll find out. Obviously, going into it now, in terms of the maps that he's got to win, you're in a rough spot. This is your last map in the series. And honestly, it feels like we burnt through these really quickly. Compared to the other series tonight, Dan, it felt like it was non-stop tempo, right? So these past two maps have gone really quick.
I have. I'm really enjoying watching Dewey on this type of form. I'm obviously feeling for ZenAku because he is so close and playing really well. But he's coming up against Dewey in what is, for me, the form of his life so far. Which is exciting going into QuakeCon, because obviously the way it's going to be set up is that Dewey will come up against, I'm guessing, the North Americans to start with, and he's one of the best. So we will see him going far if he continues this.
Hey man, we've kind of said it the entire time, right? Dewey, Chain, and Cygive, they've been the big boys that have been making noise the entire time, and it seems like they're still the lads that are picking up points towards the end of the season here, and that's what it comes down to.
So good start from Dewey as well, as he's picked up all of the items, and already ZenAku's out of position, and Dewey makes it count with a shotgun blast to the face of the Sorlag. So we said don't give away an early lead, and unfortunately ZenAku's done exactly that.
So Dewey, you've got that first pick on the board. Obviously, it gets a bit scary because you're also on Strog, so you think about the potential for him to just be able to get out of every encounter he doesn't like the look of. He will just be skirting away. It'll be like a figure skater, Dan. He'll make it look so easy, but he actually wants to instigate another fight. He's looking to do a little bit of damage and really pack a punch against the big reptilian.
But even though ZenAku's given away a frag, his job now is to do exactly this. Play keep away, pick up items where you can. Lovely job to make Dewey overcommit and pick up that Mega. And he's also caught him off guard here as he's using that Pika to try and scout out ZenAku to come up from behind. Dewey fortunately falls off the ledge. But ZenAku's done enough to pick up this heavy as well. Great tri-bolt damage. Can he catch him as he goes to pick up some health? Yes, he can. Wrong weapon out though, and he's taken a lot of shotgun blasts, so that's pretty painful, but at least he got the frag.
And that is what's pivotal. He got the kill. You've tied up the scoreline 1-1. You're not going to give Dewey an opportunity to try squirrel that, put it into the bank, and keep that lead building. Now, you make the scoreline essentially reset. Back to a level pegging playing field here. You've got a bigger stack as well. Dewey wasn't able to find him when he was still low after the encounter. So, it makes his life a little bit easier. Issue is, that one's going to sting. Tried to go for the rocket jump over to guarantee himself the heavy. Instead, had to go for the full rotation around. Take some more damage because of it. And he's looking to get himself both of the major items here. He's got to bully Dewey if he wants both of these for free. Ooh, steps in to grab it, but he's still taking damage down. The stack overall is going to be reflecting that.
Fake rocket jump to bait out Dewey, but Dewey's nowhere to be seen. He's already playing the plus back, and this is the thing. If Dewey doesn't have what he feels as a confident stack to take an engagement, he'll just hide. So ZenAku should just be sweeping up these items now. Relatively carefree, but a mishap there means he eats 2 rails. That's got to hurt, but nice flick for the Pika. Otherwise, that would have been a catastrophe of a pickup.
Yeah, that would have not have been nice whatsoever. Time ticking by, nearly 3 minutes in here to the third and final map in the series. It's the odd bit of chip damage coming out from dooi, but he takes the full brunt of it. Bullet after bullet, round after round there from the tri-bolt. All 3 of the shots connecting, dropping him down low. The follow-up from the rail coming through as well, but ZenAku playing it smart. Doesn't want to fully commit and just try and chase him down. Instead, waits, bides his time, goes for the pickup towards the heavy, swoops in for a mega. Look at the difference now as well. That big girl's got a gigantic stack, and she's also got a shotty in case he tries to push against him. Takes him down with a shotgun, Dan, and gets the lead into the game.
Done his job. Don't overcommit now. You can take so much damage going through that choke point. It's just not worth it. He wants a buffer, but what? But that's the greed. It always comes back to haunt you. He desperately wanted to give himself a bit of breathing room between him and dooi, but dooi, recognizing he was just hitting a mammoth of a lizard in a bit of a mole hole.
Could you get any more animals into that one?
I'm trying, Jackie. I'm trying.
Oh, mate. It is a nightmare, though. It is looking like, you know, at this point, ZenAku, he's woken up with a cold sweat. dooi standing at the end of the bed like a sleep paralysis demon. It's not good. It's not good.
That's a scary-ass thought, I'm not going to lie.
It's the little moustache at the end of the bed. Oh, mate. Well, the mischievous mustache man popping off once again as he'll be able to find the rocket down from the top spot, landing it onto him as he goes over by the mega. Scoreline is tied. It's 2-2 a pop. Obviously, we're coming up close towards the 5-minute mark, and dooi just doing what he does best, playing off audio, playing for the predictive rockets and rails, and then just breezing out of there to keep himself alive, never really falling into an awkward position, just taking peaks when it favors him, playing the high percentage game.
We can also see how well dooi adjusts. The fact that ZenAku has this sword lag and is putting much more emphasis on heavy items. dooi's respecting that. He's respecting the stack and he's not engaging. He's picking his situations so incredibly well. And this really has the feeling of a one frag game. So every situation counts. ZenAku's found him through the... Not again!
Oh, man.
Oh my god, I got PTSD from teleports.
I mean, at this point, it's really just unlucky as well. Like, that's all you can chalk it up to. That one is literally just Lady Luck being such a fickle mistress, just being outplayed there by dooi on the telefrag. The second one we've seen, man, you got to feel for him. You got to feel for him, Dan.
I mean, you weren't around back in the day when dooi used to just telefrag people for fun with his die roll. It's something he's well known for, and I wouldn't be surprised if both those frags were anticipated. My word, ZenAku was so unfortunate, but needs to regroup if he wants to be in with a chance. He can't afford to keep giving away frags. Now, as 2 frags is the game with only 4 minutes to go, and that is a big lead for dooi on this map, particularly when he's got a strong Pika.
Mate, ridiculous. The shenanigans are coming out in full force at this point. And dooi, he's building himself a bridge. He's busted out the double ladder. He's climbing further and further away from ZenAku here. 2 frags to be precise, with 4 minutes left to play with. This is looking scary. ZenAku, he knows the position he's in. He knows that if he wants to stay, in a good spot into the league, that he needs to win one of these maps, but it's not looking likely. Again, another encounter where he'll gob all over the gap, spitting everywhere to try and slow down dooi, but it doesn't matter. dooi will decimate him. He decks him once more and takes it 5-2.
The problem is now the tempo can't decrease. ZenAku needs to keep it high. He needs to find his opponent. Time is ticking out. We saw last time dooi is the master of just delaying and skirting his opponent, and this map of any is notorious for one frag games, for defending your lead, and dooi has 3 of them to play with. Perfect timing as well. He's caught Sorlag in the choke point. Yes, ZenAku does enough, but look how much dooi will spawn with in compression now off the spawn. No fear. So ZenAku is very much on the back foot and needs to just play a bit more careful until the items come up. Otherwise, this happens.
Oh, mate. And that's just an unfortunate one as well, because there was actually a little bit of a timeline there where he was given some leeway. Dooi, you know, he took the right turn rather than the left. He got out of the way, and ZenAku was able to roam, build himself back up a little bit, get a slightly better stack, then goes into the encounter. The prioritization wasn't there with the weapons and just gets overthrown. Again, it's Dooi leading with double the frags. A 6-3 split, time ticking away. And like you said, Dan, it's so hard in the best of times to get yourself back in, to even be able to chase down your opponent to get 1 or 2 frags right, let alone 3 when you're leaving yourself with a couple of minutes at best.
And it's also not very good when ZenAku's not hitting anything. He's only got 25% rail. And this game is unfortunately done and dusted now, as Dewey's done enough to take a 3-0 lead. And he's just played really, really well. There's no other way to say it.
This has just been the Dooi show. He's turned up tonight. You know, he's a one-man band. He's got the cymbals on the back. He's got the drums on the front. He's got the guitar. And he's just using all of those tools to really play quite a pretty tune here. 8 frags, looking for a 9th as well. Tri-Bolt comes out, shot after shot, landing there to do a lot of damage, and it doesn't even really matter. Even if he's not finding more frags, it's just a matter of, at this point, backing off, playing the chase game, and ZenAku, even if he changed these kills together, 4 frags in the next 60 seconds, it's not looking likely.
And we've seen so many different sides to Dewey's game in this entire series. Every map showed us a different facet. We've gone from hyper-aggressive to methodical to downright defensive on this game, where he's had no control, and yet once again, he's nearly doubled his opponent's damage. Yes, part of that is down to ZenAku's poor execution, but the ways that Dooi has played positionally, defensively in this room on the side, and caught ZenAku out time after time needs to be credited.
Ooh, smooth moves there on the jump up from ZenAku, and oh, they do trade like kids in the schoolyard with Pokemon cards, but it's not worked out well. Both of them going down. It's still a 9-5 split down, and with 30 seconds, you're not going to make a change.
Nope. This series is over, buddy.
Unfortunate for ZenAku as well. You got to feel for him, man. Like, one map could have been the difference.
Exactly.
But obviously, you know, fair play, Dooi. Can't fault him. You can't say he's not played well. You can't say he doesn't deserve it, right? He's been one of the shining lights of North America. We've said it for quite some time. It does feel like as well he's really been refining his play style. And it's just sick to see the progression coming out. A 9-6, ending it there with a full 3-0 as he will shut it down.
Did you see what he said at the end?
Did you say net too slow?
He said, you should have called me a lukewarm cookie. Not too fast, not too slow.
That's pretty good.
What a mad lad.
Oh, like, he should be on here. Let's bring him in.
No, I don't want more competition.
It'd be another person you'll cast with rather than me. They'll be hoovering you up, Dan.
Oh, I don't know, mate. I can't leave you. It's been 10 weeks.
No, I know. We're like an old married couple. We need to be together. We can't deal without each other. But
tea and lukewarm cookies.
Mate, honestly, it seems like in that instance, though, you know, ZenAku just couldn't deal with Dooi. He's done him in. He's done him in. And ZenAku threw the Australian kitchen sink at him, and Dooi said, "Denied. Not today, sir. Not today, brethren. Go back to Australia, the land down under." He didn't fancy it. He wanted nothing to do with it. 3 maps picked up, one after another. Dooi comes in, you know, he blows the top off of that one and shuts it down. And that is unfortunate from of course, the main man himself in ZenAku there. Really quite an unfortunate run, but that's the way it's going to go, Dan, just to round that one off. Any final thoughts on the series?
No, I'm pretty sure a lot of the Americans are going to be worried about matching up against Dooi. That scene is going from strength to strength, and yeah, he's shown us more sides of his game that we haven't seen before. And when he plays as clinical as that, yeah, I don't want to match up against him, that's for sure.
No, you wouldn't want to. You'd never want to meet him in a dark alley. I'm sure it would not end well. But that is the way that series is going to go down. More to come tonight, of course. Off the back of this one, we'll be moving back over to the European side of things and having a look at Base taking on CNZ. And that actually could be quite a tasty little game. Come back for that one when we go back live in a few moments after the break.